It was the 30-year anniversary of the Jordan 7 in 2022. However, the momentum is still going in 2023. So far this year, we've seen the Jordan 7 Olive, the Jordan 7 Infrared that I reviewed pretty recently, and this shoe that I'm reviewing today, it originally released in 2006, and it's probably my favorite Jordan 7 colorway of 2023 to date. Air Jordan 7 Chambray. The shoe is releasing on July 15th for $200 in the United States, and like I mentioned before, it is a retro of the 2006 colorway, and at the time, it was actually a pretty popular colorway. I don't think this shoe is going to sell out very quickly. The Jordan 7, one of the more not super hyped silhouettes, not super popular silhouettes. It's got its dedicated following, and the Jordan 7 silhouette, in my opinion, is one of those shoes where I don't really love it. However, if you give me a nice colorway, it's always going to pique my interest. I'm not like a dedicated Jordan 7 fan, never been a huge Jordan 7 guy. Apart from OG colorways, I don't get too excited for it, but when it comes in a slick, clean, simple colorway, I do get a little excited for it. And this shoe, I think it's a very clean, slick colorway. Now, if you didn't know, the Jordan 7 was inspired by African tribal artwork, and you can see the African influence clearly on this shoe. So the spikes on the midsole, as well as the booty of the shoe, comes in that kind of triangular pattern. And recently, if you're active online in like sneakerhead discussions, you might have seen a pretty viral post lately. People have pointed out that the number 7 is actually hidden in the booty of the shoe and this tag that's embroidered onto the shoe. Genius. Now, when I look at images comparing this shoe to the 2006 version of the Jordan 7 Chambray, the shape of the shoe does look slightly different. I don't have a 2006 version of the shoe to put side by side and see it in hand, but at least from images and then looking at this shoe in hand, I think there's a slight difference. And the upper sole consists entirely of nubuck, and I really like the nubuck on this shoe. It's genuine nubuck, so not like that synthetic nubuck, what Nike calls Durabuck. The synthetic nubuck sometimes feels a little too fuzzy. It feels a little too perfect. Now I've been trying to feel the difference between the base layer and the overlays, trying to see if there's a difference in nubuck that they use. To the touch, I don't feel like there's a difference. However, when I look at the base layer, see how prominent the grain of that nubuck leather is on the base layer compared to the overlays? The overlays, you don't see that at all. Overall, in general, I like the nubuck on the shoe. Now, one thing about nubuck, if you're one of those people that always wants to keep their shoes very fresh, super clean, it does collect dust very prominently with black nubuck. You can already see it. I've barely worn the shoe, but all the speckles of dust up close, yeah, very prominent. If that bothers you, definitely think twice about getting this shoe. Just keep that in mind. And the Jordan 7 does come with a polyurethane midsole with a full-length Nike Air unit. This shoe does come with a rubber outsole, and on the outsole you can also see the African influence with these triangular patterns and the more colorful nature of the outsole. Now, in a vacuum, I do prefer herringbone traction, at least for performance. However, I think the traction on the Jordan 7 is pretty decent still, and I think it holds up if you're playing indoors as long as you're not in like a super dusty gym. I think it does pretty well still today. And the outsole, just aesthetically, it looks beautiful. One of my favorite outsoles. Honestly, Jordan brand doesn't miss with the outsoles. I can't say there's one that I really dislike. They're all very, very outstanding. And now moving on to the inside of the shoe, you see this neoprene material that's padded inside. And that neoprene borrows from the Air Huaraches, which was designed and created around the same time as the Jordan 7, so around 91, 92. The Jordan 7 itself was released in 92, so the neoprene from those shoes that was inspired by when designer Tinker Hatfield went on a water skiing trip. He was wearing water skiing boots. Really liked the neoprene that was used on those shoes, and I will have more to say on comfort later, but the neoprene is just so comfortable on feet, and you also see the tongue made out in that neoprene material. The design itself as well is super unique. You see Air Jordan with the words Air kind of wrapped inside the words Jordan. And the background, again, inspired by African tribal artwork. You see this kind of zigzag triangular pattern. It all just goes together really nicely. One thing I gotta point out with Jordan 7s, usually they come with a shoe tree. I think the shoe tree is so much better than just stuffing a bunch of paper inside the shoe. This shoe has both. It has paper to keep the toe box from creasing and the shoe tree. Love it. And the Jordan 7 is actually the first Jordan shoe that didn't have any Nike branding on it. So the designer Tinker Hatfield, legendary designer, He wanted Jordan Brand to be able to stand on its own and disassociate with Nike. And you also don't see a visible ear unit. Jordan 7 again wanted to disconnect from Nike. The visible ear unit was such a Nike feature, so they made a conscious effort not to have a visible ear unit. It wasn't until the Jordan 16 when they brought that back. Now, one of my least favorite things about the Jordan 7, as well as the Jordan 6 actually, is the heel tab on the shoe. Generally don't like heel tabs. At least this one's not like the solid one like the Jordan 6 has. It's more of a traditional heel tab, but in general, don't really like heel tabs. Now, this shoe doesn't come with any extra laces. I don't think I would swap out the black default laces. I think it looks nice the way it is. I, in general, like black sneakers probably more than the average person, so I don't mind it. If I could choose another color, maybe that blue to match the accents on the shoe. However, I think the black looks really nice on the shoe. And the box of the shoe, very standard Jordan box. Now moving on to size and comfort, I'm a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet, and for Jordan 7s like the Jordan 6, I usually go up half a size. The Jordan 7, apart from the more slender nature of the silhouette, because of the neoprene material and the padding, it actually makes it a pretty snug fit. So I have gone true to size for Jordan 7s before, and it really did feel pretty tight. I loosened up the laces, but it just wasn't the most comfortable shoe if I went true to size. When going up half a size though, it is very comfortable. I love the neoprene, as I alluded to earlier. It just wraps really nicely around your feet. The Airflight Huarache's one of the most comfortable shoes that I have in my current rotation. That also uses neoprene in that shoe. Interestingly though, I go true to size for that shoe. But for Jordan 7s, because of the shape, in combination with the materials used, I do go up half a size. Another reason for me going up half a size as a wide footer, the Jordan 7, the shape of the shoe, there's just a lot of spillover. Now, a viewer kindly commented on a previous Jordan 7 video, I think it was the Jordan 7 Infrared. He did suggest I loosen up the laces, wear it looser, wear thinner socks to kind of diminish or minimize the spillover effect. I definitely did try that, but in general, it's hard to get right because I do prefer snug fits. So I don't want it too loose when I'm already going up half a size. And from a bird's eye view, I just still can't unsee it. It just still looks really fat on my feet. Now, comparing the fit to other shoes, at least in my rotation, I would say maybe like a Jordan 6 or a Foamposite. If you own a Foamposite, it is way more comfortable out of the box than a Foamposite. The Foamposite is like notorious for being very stiff out of the box. You really got to break that shoe in, but once you break it in, I feel like it fits pretty similarly to the Jordan 7, so maybe use that as a benchmark, as a comparison, if you've never worn a Jordan 7 before. But in general, if you don't have wide feet, I'd recommend going true to size. If you're a wide footer, maybe consider going up half a size. One thing I will have to point out is the ankle collar. There's no padding on this ankle collar. So definitely wear longer socks if you're wearing the Jordan 7, if you think that'll bother you, if this is just scraping against your ankles. Apart from that, it's a very comfortable shoe. I will say it's not the lightest shoe compared to at least like a lot of modern day shoes. There's some weight to it, but honestly, nothing that you can really notice practically. Now that brings the total sole score of the Jordan 7 Chambray to 16 out of 25, right around the average of all general release shoes. And if you want to find out the sole score for every shoe that I've ever reviewed, just go to soleandklein.com and it's all there. And I think the score makes sense. This shoe isn't like outstanding, at least compared to other shoes that I've reviewed, but it's definitely nowhere near the bottom of the list. Colorway wise, I really like this colorway. This shade of blue, like the UNC blue, it's my favorite color on sneakers, so I really like the colorway. I do like black sneakers more than a lot of other people, and the black and blue looks super sleek. I like how simple they kept the colors on this shoe. There's two predominant colors, that's it. It's just very clean. Material wise, the nubuck is very nice. You can see the grain of the leather come through. It's not like that fake synthetic nubuck. Nice materials on the upper sole. Comfort wise, the Jordan 7 with the neoprene, it's a very comfortable shoe. As a wide footer, I don't like the spillover effect, but if I'm just looking at comfort alone, it's hard to beat the Jordan 7. The padding and cushioning, it's just really well done. Versatility wise, I've always thought the Jordan 7 was a more basketball looking shoe. Like, it's very clearly an athletic shoe, so it's a bit harder to wear with a wide range of outfits. However, I think this colorway, with the sleekness of this colorway, with the simplicity and the muted nature of it, I think it's a versatile colorway. This silhouette is not for everybody. The Jordan 7 is not on the same level as like the Jordan 1s, 3s, 4s, even 5s. However, in general, I think it's still pretty versatile. Now, in terms of storytelling, there's no story to tell, just a general release colorway. The most recent two Jordan 7 releases in 2023, so with the Jordan 7 Infrared and this shoe, the Jordan 7 Chambray, have been super simple. One very dominant color, in this case the black, and another color which acts as an accent as well as a complement. just really makes the shoe pop, and I think it's very simple but very effective. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Jordan 7 Chambray. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.